Going on, golf addicts? Welcome to the Tour Junkies podcast for the WGC Workday and a little bit of Puerto Rico. We're going to give a little sprinkle of that Puerto Rico in here. You know what I mean? It's going to be a good time. A little sprinkle of that Rico, little Rico sprinkle. I'm DB, your host. I got Pat Perry with me. This episode of the Tour Junkies podcast presented to you by none other than FantasyNational.com/TJ, where you need to go to get your 20% off discount on any plan, weekly, monthly, or annually. It is where we go to get all of our stats, all of our data, all of our course research, our player research, course history, recent form. You can do your own models if you want to model a little bit, if you want to be a modeler, if you want to make a model. If you never got a data model, but you want something to do with the model, you can go to FantasyNational.com/TJ and get that 20% off. Now they have Corn Ferry stuff loaded in there. So if you want to really degenerate yourself, if you want to be a degenerate male or female and hit up on that Corn Ferry, you can do that on Fantasy National, get all the research in. It's a great place to go. And all the data is 100% backed and supplied by the PGA Tour. Shot link data is all pure and just holy. You know what I mean? You can't go on every site with stats and they tell you it's from the tour, but you don't know that it is. With Fantasy National and their arrangement with the PGA Tour, So go to FantasyNational.com/TJ, get that 20% off discount. You can also put in Tour Junkies in the promo code box. And let's get to it. We got a fun show tonight, Pat. Obviously, we're going to do some picks. We're going to talk DraftKings for the WGC. In terms of sportsbook stuff, we're going to talk WGC and Puerto Rico at the end. We've got a special guest tonight I'm excited about. But, Pat, I'm most excited about hitting another outright bomb. Max Homa, 70-1. Yay. What you drinking tonight, baby? What you sipping on?
Cheers to that. A little Wild Leap again. Double IPA, a side bay. And let me just tell you, old Max Homa has been so hot. That looks good. Is that you? Are you drinking the same thing?
I told you I wasn't going to have one tonight, and then I
know. There was a little bit of shock to me there because you were like, I think there's going to be a little bit of role reversal. And Anyway, okay. Yeah, love some Max Homa. The guy's just been playing incredible, and he showed it again this week. And I'm sure there were a lot of winners, especially if you're following us. Oh. And you probably saw the stats on Fantasy National anyway. Yeah. So, look, Max Homa.
Dude, such a fun tournament to watch. God, I love Riviera. At one point, I think the leaders, let's see, Sam Burns was in the final group, right? At one point, after he had finished his 11th hole, I look at the leaderboard, and between my betting card and your, not that anyone really cares, betting card, you had Sam Burns at 125-1 in the lead. You had Max Homa and Finau and Cam Smith. I had Cam Smith and Homa. You also had Finau. We had the top four players on the leaderboard on both of our outrights. We were destined to pull out a victory. Would have been cool if it was Sam Burns. Big 125-1 would have been nice. Yeah. 70-1 Max Homa. I'll take it on DB's Big Balls betting card. Now up 17 units since the new season in September, betting strictly outrights. You can find that on tourjunkies.com. Pat's card's killing it. Pat just hit Brooks Koepka like 2 weeks ago at 35-1. I hit Siwoo Kim at 66-1 before that. We're on a roll. We're on a heater. Get on the bandwagon right now is what you need to do. We had some major Nut Hut winners as well. We've been nutting 24/7 the last week, and we got some good winners. We had a first week in the Nut Hut, won a big GPP on FanDuel. The name is Bavuxen, so I don't know. I think we have like another Nordic member or something.
Why can't any of these winners have like a normal
name?
Like, just make it normal so we can pronounce. I mean, look, we're just like some Southern boys. We have problems, especially me, with pronunciation. That's why DB does this, because I can't even, most of the time, I can't even pronounce it.
So we had a lot of big winners. He won the big FanDuel GPP. Our Nut Hut Listener League winner was Schmitty88, who's been a member, I think, for quite some time.
Yeah.
504 points in the Nut Hut contest, making his way to the Listener League finals for a chance to win a trip to come play golf with me and you later on in the fall. Man, what? Oh, you know what else, though? Our boy Producer Sam. Producer Sam made him a big hit. Now, we haven't had Producer Sam showing up on the pod since like the first week, but I think Sam should hop on here. Sam, you got a hit last week?
Well, hold on. I'm behind the Nut Hut. Hold on. Oh,
there you go. You're behind the paywall.
I got 2 words for you. Cha-ching.
Yeah.
Max Homa, cha-ching. Thank you, boys, for giving me the confidence to put that ticket in. And I think I'm going to be putting another one in for the Masters on Mr. Homa.
Oh, for the
I think
Masters.
I'm going to do it now.
You know, he's confident, man. He is so confident. It was so good to see him win. That chip shot on the playoff hole was bananas.
Incredible.
And the way he bounced back after he missed the putt on 18, like he's smiling about it, he's laughing about it. I don't think that's how I would have handled it. I've played enough golf to know that's not how he would have handled it. But it worked for him. Like he shook it off. It's golf. It happens. And he went out and he closed the deal. Poor Tony Finau. Yeah, I do think he's going to win, though. I think. What if Danny Woodhead, who was our guest picker last week, who picked Tony Finau, would have been the Tony Finau whisperer last week and nailed him? That would have been bananas.
That would have been pretty cool. But I don't know if Tony Finau is going to win. I want him to, but I don't know.
He's going to win.
I mean, did you see the stat out of like the most top 10 finishes? I can't even remember how long it was, the last few years. He's got like 37 top 10 finishes. The next closest guys were like at 16. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's going to happen, man. He's close. I think you could see he's the nicest guy in the world. I don't think there's anybody on tour that doesn't like him or he doesn't like them. But you could see he was a little pissed. Like when he lost that playoff, he was pissed.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want him to win. I'm just saying. I mean, at this point, you've got to wonder.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, somebody who was definitely MIA last week was our boy Ben Little. Chalk Bomb Ben had a rough week last week in the old strokes gained home life, was struggling. Slinging chicken titties is a hard job for Ben full time. So anyway, but he's back. He's back this week. He's assured us the 10 facts will be up. The Chalk Bomb email will be back in your inbox. So it's going to be a good week. All the regular content on tourjunkies.com will be there. I'm excited about it, Pat. Let's, you know what, before we move on, we should have everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, you need to hit the thumbs up, give us the like, give us the comment, okay? Give us a like, give us a comment. We've done this with a few people. See, be like Phil, okay? Be like Phil, give it a thumbs up. See, Phil's all thumbs.
He's good at the thumbs up.
You'd be good at the thumbs up. But you know, comment, help us out. By the way, I went ahead and picked the socks winner. So somebody I went ahead and messaged, they're going to be getting the Waste Management socks. Those are on the way. Thanks for those comments. Those were entertaining. The golf club giveaway, we're going to end after this week. So you got one last chance. Get in there to get to the Apple podcast place. Leave some reviews, 5 stars. Make it interesting. We're going to pick a winner, and I'm going to send you my irons. Pat's going to send you a driver and some other swag. Should be fun. But yeah, comment here on the YouTube channel. Something. Just comment something. Comment. I think it'd be cool for you guys to tell us who you think some fun guest pickers would be. Who should we get on the show for a quick guest picker spot? I think that would be interesting. But if you can't think of anything else, just comment your favorite your favorite beer. Actually, I love a good double IPA. I like the double kind of, you know, you don't drink as much, but you get it done quicker.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that.
Comment that.
Did we ever find out why it's called a double IPA? Maybe comment on that too. I love beer, but I don't know a ton about it. So.
It's like double the potency, I think is what it is. By the way, you know what I found out today? That Pat apparently is forming a coup in the damn Nut Hut is what's happening. I'm not happy about it, but maybe we'll talk about it later. We're too long here, but there's apparently a general nonsense thread in the Nut Hut that is for general nonsense, and I didn't think anybody ever went in there, but I find out today that Pat is in there and has some army going where every time he enters the channel, he's worshipped, and I feel like there's some conspiring going on in there, and I don't really know if I should be alarmed, but I'm just going to let you know DB is going to be lurking in the general nonsense chat. So just be careful. Is all I got to say. You may not know I'm in there, but I'm in there. So.
Oh, let me tell you, they know because when I even just enter the chat, they start to hush and they get quiet and then I hear some comments. It's like, oh, Pat's lurking, and then I jump in there and it's just fantastic. I mean, it's a great part of the chat. But anyway, we should go on to the course breakdown. I can't really talk about it all that much.
Yeah, apparently. Okay, let's get into the course breakdown. Brand new course this week. What we got, Pat?
All right. Yes, the Workday Championship for the World Golf Championship at the Concession in Bradenton, Florida, which is just south of the Tampa St. Pete area. Beautiful area. So Concession is a par 72. It's playing almost 7,500 yards. So pretty lengthy course this week. You will have 72 players in the field. There is no cut. This is a Jack Nicklaus design with a little help from Tony Jacklin. Little backstory there. The reason that it's called Concession is because there was some sort of concession. I think it was a 1969 Ryder Cup or something like that. But anyway, the 2015 NCAA championships are the only major event of note that has been played here. And DB's boy, Bryson DeChambeau, won that event in 2015. So that is something you may take a little bit of note on. But we got Bermuda grass tee to green this week. Pretty wide fairways, but very small greens this week. With a lot of undulation. Nicklaus likes that. It's just like, you see at the National, he loves that with severe slopes, some contours there. So I think these greens are going to be pretty tricky. I don't think they're going to be all that fast, but it could trip up these players a little bit. I'm definitely going to be looking at those guys that have plenty of distance off the tee, but are great on approach and scrambling. Kind of like we saw last week. When you miss the green, you got to be able to scramble your ass off. I love that stat here as well. And I'm just going to be kind of looking at your overall good putters on Bermuda grass. I think that's going to be important as well. We should be getting a lot of information, I think, from caddies. As a matter of fact, we are going to be efforting a ton this week to get a lot of information from caddies and anybody else on the ground, coaches, whoever else we can, even some players, just to get as much information as we can on this course, because you're going to hear a lot this week. But I think if we get those, reports from the grounds, it'll be even that much better. And we will report that in the Nut Hut on Wednesday or throughout the week. We got the caddy info section of the Nut Hut, and then we'll be in there as well on Wednesday night. Weather looks pretty damn good. I don't see much as far as the weather's concerned. Not much wind and things like that. I mentioned, what I'm kind of looking for, but just to kind of pinpoint it, I'm going to certainly look at form this week, strokes gained approach, scrambling. I'm looking at putting on Bermuda and off the tee. Past champions, doesn't matter because it's a new course, so I don't really care.
Okay, lot to digest there, though. I think you're definitely right. We got a lot of feelers out already. A few of our guys hit the ground today. It didn't really have a chance to take in Concession before we started the show tonight, or we would have shared that with you, but we'll just share it with you in the Nut Hut. All we know is Kiz landed today and said it's long. That's all he said, but we know that. The scorecard says that. Yeah, there's some these par fives are brutal. In fact, I think one of them is the number one handicap hole on the golf course, which you don't find a lot on the PGA Tour in terms of par fives. I think you said the greens are small. I think the greens are actually I think they're larger, but the landing areas are really small because of all the undulation. I do think that, like you said, the precision iron play is going to be pretty key. And while I think for the most part it's fairly open off the tee, if you're too far, there's a lot of trouble here. It's a Florida course, but I've read some stuff that it's got like a North Carolina vibe where it's like tree lined, woods can be in trouble, OB, there's a ton of water that can get you. This definitely looks like a course that can jump up and bite you for sure. I looked today and a lot of sports books have the winning score at -14.5 over under, which, looks to set up a lot like Riviera in terms of difficulty. Riv was -13.5 last week. I think Jack's going to want this place to play similar to how he sees Memorial when he sets up Memorial. This is a WGC event. It's a big event. It's supposed to be the best players in the world. I think he wants to see this place play tough. So, like we've seen a lot of WGCs, the cream does tend to rise to the top in WGCs. If you look at past champs, even though it doesn't matter in terms of what they know about this course, it is something that, you may want to pay attention to. Is just WGC record. However,
I think it'll be a little bit harder too, just because it's, the first time they've played here, even though these guys are pros, their caddies are pros, and they've got 3 days to practice on it. It's still the first year, and there's going to be a lot of things and nuances on the greens that they're not going to know. So I think that's going to make it even a little bit tougher.
Yeah, that's probably true as well. I think, however, you need to know if you're playing DFS in a WGC event, no cut, limited field. I always think you narrow down your pool a little tighter. So if you're used to playing 18 players in a pool, I think you need to have it less. You need to have like 14, 13 left. Get tight in the player pool and just commit to those players. Don't have too much spread out. Ownership leverage is always important, but it's really important in WGCs with such a top-heavy field. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, a little bit later when we get to the top end. And consider a little less bankroll. Just my PSA. I don't know. I tend to not play as much of the bankroll in these WGC events as I would bet on them or a normal week. So maybe consider that. It's definitely, there's a lot of variance here. Don't freak out on Thursday if your stuff's doing fantastic. Don't screenshot that mess if you're in first. Don't, kick the dog if you're in dead last and think you're done. A lot changes in a no-cut event unless somebody withdraws. So something to take note of. Before we get into the DFS portion, Pat, we got to talk about our friends, our supporters over there at Wine Access. You love a good glass of wine. Your Fantasy Golf Sommelier video continues to get more and more views each week, which is great. People need to be watching the Fantasy Golf Sommelier video. You're talking about the great wines over at Wine Access. There's some amazing stuff over there. We love the website. I talked about the website, being able to kind of pick by occasion and select the perfect wine for the perfect occasion. They make it easy for anyone, if you're a novice or an enthusiast, to order the most delicious wines from around the world. And you can actually learn about which wines are great and why they chose them and what they go along with. They have a team of experts that taste over 20,000 bottles a year to ensure they're choosing the very best and wines from renowned to under-the-radar winemakers, even rare and hard-to-find bottles. So they tell the story behind the wine so you can understand it and appreciate it and know what makes each bottle special. You can't go wrong. But if any wine fails to impress, you get your money back. No questions asked. They give you credit. No questions asked. If our podcast sucks and you don't like it, we can't give you the time that you spent listening to it right back. We can't do that. But Wine Access can do that. So we know you're going to love Wine Access. So we worked out this exclusive offer for our listeners, 20% off your first order. And you get this offer. So you just go to wineaccess.com/tour. That's wineaccess.com/tour. The discount is applied at checkout. 20% off wineaccess.com/tour. All right, Pat. We're about to bring in our guest picker here in just a moment. We're going to look at the 9K and above range on DraftKings. And we're going to, pick a few players we like and a fade. I think we give our picks and then we bring in our guest picker. What do you think? Want to do that?
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
Okay. I'm not going to get too hung up here. There's some great plays here. Look at that beautiful new graphic. Look at producer Sam working overtime here. I love it. There's a lot of great names here. It's tough. I got a reason. Actually, let me do this. I'll tell you my fade. Guess who it is?
DJ.
No. Last week on this show, I was on Pat Mayo's show, and I said I'm fading Bryson. And everybody's like, oh, DB fades Bryson because he hates Bryson. I got all these comments on the Mayo show that, I just hated him and I faded him because I don't like him. But here's the deal. I have a record of picking Bryson. I don't always fade Bryson, but I do, stand by it. And I stood by it last week and he missed the cut. And I'm doing it again this week. He is my fade once again this week. And I understand people are going to go, he's 9,800 or 9,900 and people are going to jump on him after the fade. I get that. But 6 WGCs, he's had 6 WGCs. He's only got, his best finish is a runner-up. Not bad. He's got 1 runner-up, 2 top 30s, and the other 3 are pretty terrible. And I just I'm not seeing it. The approach play is still rough. The putting on Bermuda is not fantastic. Even though I know he's 9,900, I don't know. Of all the names in this range, I feel like I can make a case a lot easier for anybody else in here. Bryson is still my fade for this week. So I'm out on Bryson, and then I'm in on pretty much the 3 lower owned guys that, I feel like have tremendous win equity at the end of the week. So I don't know who that's going to be. So I'm just going to say I like the most Jon Rahm. I love him here. He's playing well. He loves to hit a cut shot. Nicklaus always rewards the cut shot off the tee. He's playing so good. I love Rahm. I'm going to go Patrick Reed at 9,200. He's always going to be low owned in a WGC event. He won it last year in Mexico, but he's typically low owned because there's so many big names and people look for ways not to play Reed. But I like him at a venue where everybody's trying to figure it out. It's gonna play a little more difficult. I like him on difficult tracks. I like him grinding here. There's gonna be a lot. These greens have a lot of slope and runoffs, so I think up and down play is gonna be important. I like that for Patrick Reed. And then I'm probably gonna go Brooks. I think I'm gonna go back to Brooks Give me Florida, Bermuda, Brooks coming off a win at the Waste Management. I feel like Rahm, Brooks, and Reed are going to give me, a decent amount of potential leverage. Rahm may be a little chalky, but I don't know that Reed and Brooks are necessarily going to be that way. So I'm excited to see how that ownership turns out. However, I think everybody should kind of take heed and just say, don't feel too committed early on because when ownership projections come out, if it's not great for your guy and you got a bunch of chalk, I think you need to consider pivoting elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of those weeks where you're going to get to later in the week and pivot for sure. But I'll start with where we have some agreement, and that is definitely on Patrick Reed. I agree with you. I like the price at 9,200. I like him on hard courses. You're definitely going to have to scramble here on these greens. I do like him there. So I think Patrick Reed is a great play. And I also like JT. I'm going to go back on to Justin Thomas. I know he had that terrible week last week, but you know what? I don't care. He's closer to home and where he lives. He is, he's a great ball striker, top 10 in the field in approach around the green, par 5 scoring. He putts pretty well on Bermuda as well. So I like JT there at 10.5, probably getting him a little bit cheaper than you might, if it hadn't been for such a bad week last week. So I will play him. And then a guy who's just been hot, and that is Tyrrell Hatton at 9,600. He is another guy that checks the box. You look at ball striking, he's top 10 in the field, top 10 in approach. He's top 15 in putting on Bermuda, top 20 off the tee, and has just been in great form. So I like Hatton there at 9,600. My fade is going to be Dustin Johnson there at the top. Now, maybe that sounds a little bit too much of an easy fade. I don't know. I mean, he is the number one player in the world, but I just don't want to play him at that price. And he looked a little bit tired to me on Sunday. I know he had that week off. What was that? Pebble, where he took the week off? Yeah, he took the week off at Pebble, where he's won, before and played well. And he played well last week. As a matter of fact, leading into Sunday, I was like, there's no way. I mean, Sam Burns is going to just crumble. All these other guys are going to crumble, but he just looked a little bit tired to me. And I could see a disappointing week, and he's got to finish extremely high to justify playing him at this price. So I am out on Dustin Johnson at 11.6. There you go.
Okay. I like the tournament plays there. I think you get some leverage there. I don't mind JT at all for kind of bouncing back. That's interesting. All right, let's see what our guest picker has to say. Now, you guys are not going to have a clue who he is, okay? Except you diehard nut hutters, because we're bringing in a listener. We tried a listener a few weeks back with old Marcus, who has really crappy Gavin Newsom California internet. But we found a guy in Michigan with some internet. Let's bring in Brian Halverson, listener Brian Halverson. What up, Brian? How you doing, man?
How's it going, guys?
He's got the Nut Hut hat, or the Golby hat on. Look at his setup. My man's a professional. This is now Brian is a longtime listener of the Tour Junkies podcast, longtime member of the Nut Hut. I mean, you may have been in there since day one, right, Brian?
I got in there pretty early. I got in there before Discord for sure.
Oh
Pretty
yeah,
early.
you got
Yeah.
in that janky stuff. We used to be running that bootleg Nut Hut stuff. But yeah, always great to have Brian. He loves DFS, plays a lot, very engaged listener. And he also actually the reason he has this great looking setup here is he actually has a podcast, and we're gonna, you got a podcast with your wife, don't you, Brian? You and your wife argue about stuff.
I do. We argue. We do some pop culture quizzes. It's called "Take a Seat, Not a Side."
Take a seat, not a side.
That is brave to do a podcast with your wife. I mean,
It's very
wow.
It's very brave. You should write the Brian's Big Balls betting card after that.
I tell you what, the more fighting goes on after we record. The editing, that's a pain in the.
Okay. I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, Brian also is the only person alive that thinks that green tea matcha drink that Pat had to drink last week is nasty. So you're the reason for that. So, we thought we just, what do you got? What do you got?
That's where that came from. We tried on our podcast. We sampled stupid Starbucks drinks, and one of them was that disgusting green tea latte. She didn't like it either. I can't believe that you guys don't hate that.
I don't know, man. Literally every member of the Nut Hut thinks it's delicious. I love this. Nick A in the YouTube chat says the next Junkie show should be DB, Pat, and the wives. Now, Nick, that is that's a hot take. I will say that.
Yeah.
Now, fun fact: if you're an OG Tour Junkies listener, you remember when my wife was on the show. Probably what, year one? Was that year one? Brian, did you ever listen to that show? Don't lie.
I did not.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have been very early on.
Yeah, the wife was on the show. I don't know that Pat's wife would ever want to be on our show. I don't know that she would do it.
She's been on the show. She's been on the show.
She has been on the show.
We did a PGA Championship. Yeah, it was my wife, your wife. I mean, we had a gaggle of people in there for that one. Moose, Fantasy National Moose was in there with his wife, right? Were they on that one?
Yeah, they were. Yeah. We had a whole crew. Okay, Brian, let's see. You know, we're bringing in some guest pickers that maybe some folks know, maybe they don't, but we definitely want to mix in the regular guys like us, you know, like you, the listener. Are you going to get undressed for this? Is that what you're doing?
I mean, are you getting naked here?
I
mean, that would be.
That's looking good.
Looking nice. Somebody in the chat said earlier, looks like an angry Ted Cruz. Did you just get back from Cancun, Pat?
No. I don't know why people care so much about my how I look. I really don't. That's just why I hate the damn video shit. Anyway, let's go, Brian. Come on.
No. What's funny is like before the beard and the slick back hair, everybody said Kirby Smart, and now no one says Kirby Smart, and they all say Ted Cruz.
Oh, I've heard it from more than just these people in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Brian. We want to get some regular folks' opinion. You know, give me some names. I think you got a DraftKings name, and then you got a long shot bomb. We love long shot season. So what do you think? Who you got?
Yeah. I'm going back to Daniel Berger.
Okay. Bermuda Berger.
Bermuda Berger. He's from Florida. Great form. I actually had him click last week before he withdrew.
Okay.
Good around the green. I'm targeting ball strikers around the green. Bermuda, same thing, you know.
Okay.
Why not? Form's good.
Yeah, I can't argue with Daniel Berger. I literally can't argue with anybody in here except Bryson. So I'm good. I love that. All right.
For my long shot, you mentioned Memorial. This guy took second at Memorial. He's got 2 top 5s since the new year. Ryan Palmer. Why not?
Okay. What's his number? His number's like
he's at 7,200.
I see him at 80 to 1.
80
to 1. You're telling me his number, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good number of Ryan Palmer. Been playing really well. I don't hit that play.
DFS wise, I'm going to take a long, hard look at Harry English, but his number is pretty low right now. So if I'm betting, I'd rather bet on Palmer.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Harry. We'll get to him a little bit, I'm sure. I mean, he's he was such a stud for so long, and then he's had a couple rough tournaments, but he's had some time off. I wonder what's happened. All right. Yeah, I like it. I like the calls. If I didn't like it, I would tell you. But I honestly like him.
On your Homa hit last week, I'm gonna plug your Nut Hut for a minute here.
God, yes.
I don't know if you saw, but Tim wrote up a pivot point in the Nut Hut, and his pivot was Hovland to Homa. I didn't get on it. A lot of people did. The Nut Hut was hopping last night with Homa
celebrations, huh?
With Homa hoppers. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Brian, what else do you like about the Nut Hut? Why don't you plug that Nut Hut for us real quick? Do our job.
I wasn't sure if you knew about the nonsense chat. I was gonna say that's the switch to Discord has been wild. Like nothing. I mean, I don't want to rag on the old setup, but
yeah,
you can rag on it. Don't worry, it doesn't offend us.
The Discord has everything. Like it doesn't just have. I know you plug the betting, but it doesn't just have that. We have a jukebox chat in there where I didn't know who Morgan Wallen was before you guys listed him in there. But the nonsense chat is. I was trying to think of a comparison, and the only way I can describe it is, it's the Lindsay Lohan of Discord channels.
So Pat's in charge of the Lindsay Lohan of Discord channels.
Yeah.
Let me just say this though. Brian can attest to this.
Further though,
I did not go in there and declare myself this. It was bestowed upon me.
I'm about to have to drop some shit.
On behalf of the nonsense channel, I'll bow.
Come on, man. Yeah, what is happening? There's a coup.
Hey, maybe you should spend more time in the chat, DB. Maybe you should. This is a sign.
You know what? Actually, this week I will be in the chat on Wednesday night for hours. I will be in there on Wednesday night for hours this week, and Ben Little will be in there. So there you go.
You know what we did this past week? I think we had 30 people in the nonsense chat, and we built 5 teams of 6, and we all picked one golfer, and we let it roll. So 5 of those lineups in the listener league were co-op teams. And,
so we're forming mutinies in there and breaking laws of DFS and all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
hey,
that's wild.
Listen, for only $10 a month or $90 a year, you can be a part of all this madness. So I think you need to go to tourjunkies.com, get in that nut hut, hang out with old Brian Halverson right here and the gang, and go figure out what all this nonsense about Pat's about. All right, Brian, I think you've done enough. I think you've done enough. Thank you, man. Appreciate the loyalty, the listenership. Thanks for hopping on tonight. Good luck with the podcast. What's the name of it again?
Take a seat, not a side.
Okay. Yeah, everybody check that out. Listen,
you can find it anywhere, Brian.
Yeah, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google.
Okay, man. No free ads. That's enough. What are you doing?
Nice.
Get out of here. Producer Sam, throw him out of here. What is this guy even doing? Get him out.
Thanks, Brian.
Banned for life. All right, Brian Halverson, our boy, thanks for joining. Every now and then we'll mix it up with some listeners. Let's have a good time. You guys may not, you may be like, who's this schmuck? But, give it a chance. It could be you one of these days. All right, let's get to the 9K range, 8K range, Pat. This is going to be real cut and dry for your boy. I love Sung Jae. I think everybody's going to love Sung Jae because everybody's like, oh, dang, Sung Jae hadn't played in 2 weeks. He's rested for once for the first time since he, I don't know, probably came out of high school. He's rested a little bit. And
what if, though, he doesn't know what to do when he's rested? We don't know what rested Sung Jae is like, really, because we don't hardly get to see it. So,
I'm willing to find out. He loves Bermuda, playing great. I just can't find it. I'm trying to think what ownership number he'd have to be for me to fade him. If he's over 25%, I would fade him. Anything less, and I don't even care. If he's 20, I'll have him at 40 or 60. He's locked in for me. Absolutely love him. And then I'm going with another Bermuda guy who's playing well right now too. Almost won the Masters along with Sung Jae, and that's Cam Smith, who just played well, top 5 last week, 8,700. M and Smith, I absolutely love here. My fade is gonna be $8,900 Tommy Fleetwood. I don't like the value. He is his big time field finishes lately not been great. In 10 starts since COVID, since the restart, in 10 starts on the PGA Tour, okay, his best finish is a T19 at Augusta. And I say on the PGA Tour because we talk about this a lot in these WGC events in the Open Championship. Yes, there are some names here from the European Tour, Asian Tour, that are good players, very good players. I've got a couple of them I'm going to mention that I like, but you still, every year we see it. There's going to be a couple that are going to do well, but guys who, come over and they get a different level of competition because the best players in the world are playing the PGA Tour week in and week out. And it's just not the same. And Fleetwood's he's not doing that great. He's in 15 starts at WGCs, he only has 3 top 10s. At 8,900, you don't necessarily need him to top 10, but you need him to come close. And he's only done that 3 times in 15 starts at the WGC. Don't like the value whatsoever for Tommy Fleetwood. So he's my fade.
Well, you know what? I don't actually know. I don't agree with that. I think he's actually been playing fairly well recently. He played well at the Masters with the top 20 finish. I think he's going to be pretty low owned here at that price. And so you're definitely going to want to look for some leverage. So I don't mind Fleetwood. Now, he wasn't one of the guys that I pinpointed to talk about, but I don't really mind him all that much. I don't think I'll fade him. As a matter of fact, I could see he being one of the guys that will be the Fantasy Golf Sommelier Pop the Cork Play of the Week. But my 2 plays...
I gotta interrupt. The hell is going on in here? We're losing control of things. We just had a listener, Crazy Marcus, donate $1.99 U.S. currency in the YouTube chat to praise nonsense divine leader Patrick H. Perry. Somebody he just gave, and Marcus is in California, where he's locked up in his house. He can't do anything. And he just gave $1.99 to praise nonsense divine leader. What is going on here? I don't understand.
I mean, all I can say, I said it earlier
tonight.
Maybe spend a little more time in the chat, DB. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. Let's just talk about my plays. Thank you, Crazy Marcus, by the way.
Wow. What is it going on? Okay.
It just wouldn't be a WGC week without Marcus giving $1.99 US currency for the divine leader.
Divine leader.
I'm gonna go. I gotta go with Fitzy this week. 8,500. We saw him play well last week. He did piss me off because if he had just made that damn birdie on the last hole, I think that would have made me a decent amount of money. But
oh yeah, by the way, congrats to you for finishing 5th in the PME.
Yeah, Pat Mayo
won it.
Whatever it is. I finished 5th. It would have been better, I believe, if he had made that damn putt. But it doesn't matter. He is 21st in the field, or 20th in the field in ball striking, checks the box off the tee and approach. His best surface is Bermuda. So I do like him putting a little bit better on Bermuda as opposed to what we saw last week. But I like Fitzy when he's hot. He has been hot recently. So at 8,500, I like him as a tournament play. And then I like Joaquin Niemann at 8,100. Now, he had a terrible weekend. He kind of came back on Sunday, but you look at it across the board, the guy has just been playing fantastic, checks a ton of boxes this week. At 8,100, I think he's a good play, so I will play him. And Adam Scott will be my fade at 8,200. I don't know about Adam. I can't play Adam. I feel like he might be a little bit high owned there in that low 8K range, although I'm terrible with ownership anyway. But his irons just haven't been that great lately. He has been putting a little bit better. He had a couple rounds last week where they weren't so good, but he did have some fantastic rounds, including round 1 where he was absolutely just on fire with the putter. But I will fade Adam Scott at 8,200. I just like, too many, more players here in this range. So,
yeah. What if I told you there was a player at the Genesis who lost 3.5 strokes on approach, but gained 4.1 putting, and you went
that would have been
every player in the field, and then you said as your last name, because I kept saying no, you said Adam Scott, and I said yes. You would be like, what the hell is going on? Similar to what is going on, because DB just got $4.99 donated
in that
currency to quintuple the donation, because I'm the real leader of this thing, boy. I am the conductor.
See what happens when just a look.
$4.99. My boy Chase Henderson coming through.
You people don't even understand what y'all are doing here. DB's head is big enough already that even with Pat, Pat gets just a little itsy bitsy amount of love, and he just freaks out. And by the way, the math is off, because I don't think $4.99 is a quintuple of $1.99. Okay, that's not okay. So I think what you got to do is do 4 times $1.99, then you can get to that number. All right. So
you don't even know. Anyway. You have $2. I have $5. I'm in the lead, and we don't even ask for money on this show. All we ask you to do is comment something and maybe join the Nut Hut. If you donate to this show for this ridiculousness and you don't join the Nut Hut, I don't know what you're doing.
Here's how you donate: you come in and you just go to the Nut Hut and enter the general nonsense chat, and you will be may even get hooked up by me. I have all the merchandise, by the way.
Okay. Oh man, that's beautiful, man. Just a bidding war going on for the two of us. I never thought that'd happen. I feel like I'm a bachelor being auctioned off at a charity event or something. The ladies are going bananas over there. They want to.
It's kind of fun this week though, because I feel like we can interact a little more this week because it is a WGC. Look, we got it's a no cut event. I feel like these are kind of weeks where you get to sort of take a step back, slow your roll on the bank. You don't have to play a ton this week. Just kind of have fun, and you can play with your lineups a little bit too. I mean, I'm gonna get crazy down here in this lower range. So,
speaking of that, I thought I should bring this up, Pat, because we talked about this earlier today. We have decided to bring back something on the show in a few weeks that we haven't done in probably a couple of years, maybe 2 or 3 years. A couple years ago, we did a fun thing called the role reversal show, where I basically took on the role of Pat, and Pat took on the role of DB for the show. That means Pat's doing the rundown. That means Pat's reading the ad reads. That means Pat's hosting the show. That means all I'm doing is just showing up and drinking and throwing out some stuff. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing. And it's a role reversal show. It's going to be a good time. I think we're going to do that for the, what'd I say? The one
Valero?
before Valero? Yeah, the Valero Texas Open, the one before the Masters, it's a crap field anyway. So we're going to do it there. Also, I just got another $2.99. Another $2.99. Oh, and Halverson just came in with $5 on Team Pat. This is stupid. We're getting super chats for this mess. Halverson with $5. Halverson, I'm the reason you got on the show today, and I'm plugging your podcast, and you give Pat $5. What is going on? YouTube's gonna be like, what the hell is going on with this channel that people are gonna start giving to these guys all of a sudden? That's banana. What we should do, Pat, what we should do with the money?
Yeah.
We should donate the money to our favorite charity, which is what?
Well, mental health is a problem in America, so I think we should find something that has to do with mental health, because you think about the Nut Hut in general. There could be some mental problems, or you could maybe donate to 28 Bold. But
Okay,
I'm just saying, mental health is important also.
It is. But yes, our favorite charity, Pat, the right answer there would be 28 Bold. Where we do water relief to South Africa with my wife. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah, so if you donate in the super chat, that's where it's going. Okay. 7K range, Pat. Talk to me. Who you got?
Well, I'm going to start at the very top here, and I like old Louis Oosthuizen. It's 7,900. I'm going to play him. You know what? You look at his form recently. It's been pretty good. He is... let me get down here. He finished T11 at the Waste Management. He was top 30 at the Farmers. We haven't seen him in a few weeks here on the PGA Tour, but I do like him this week. I think this could be a good course for him, and I also think he could be a little bit lower owned as well. Checks the box off the tee. He is a great scrambler. Par 5 scoring, checks the box there, and also putting as well. So Louis Oosthuizen at 7,900. And then I'm going to go a little crazy here. I like Justin Rose at 7,700.
Okay.
Now, he has been not so great lately as far as his form. Well, his form actually has been good internationally. It hasn't been over here, but I think you're going to get him much less owned than you typically would, especially in a field like this. He has been pretty good on approach lately. Par 5 scoring, he lives, he kind of lives in where does he live? Like the freaking Bahamas right now or something. I don't know. He's all over the damn place, but he certainly, is used to these Bermuda greens. So I like Justin Rose at 7,700. And then I'm going to give you a crazy play here. Well, it's not crazy to me because I just think that not a lot of whole people know about this guy, but Robert McIntyre, yes, from Scotland at 70. It's 7,400. I love him this week. You look at his form. He was 29th in Saudi Arabia. He was 3rd at Dubai. He was 16th at Abu Dhabi. He's top 10 this year and 12th last year in strokes gained off the tee. He is a great iron player, checks the box in approach and greens in regulation when you look at the European Tour stats over the last couple of years. And he is just kind of a star in the making, I think. So I like some Robert McIntyre there at 7,400. And then I'm going to fade Bubba Watson at 7,300. Look, I think the stats, if you're running models and stuff this week, he's probably going to pop up there, pretty high, other than putting on Bermuda. But I just don't like what we've seen from Bubba. I mean, his form hasn't been all that great in a little bit. So I will fade Bubba Watson at 7,300.
Man, all right. Well, you took the Bobby Mack pick from me. I like the Bobby McIntyre play. Lefty, confident young guy out of the European Tour. I think that's an interesting take. I will say, I guess with these WGCs, we talk about these European Tour players, but I mean, this is like you said in the beginning, it's a course that nobody's really seen before. So there's not really a huge advantage there. That's for sure. It's just the level of competition is obviously different. All right. I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with the guy Brian Halverson mentioned, our guest, at $7,500. I'm going to go with Harris English. I think people are going to avoid Harris English coming off the win at the Tournament of Champions. Kind of a little letdown at the Sony, finishing 32nd, which was to be expected. Then he missed the cut at the Farmers in the Waste Management by losing strokes off the tee and approach, which he was rarely doing on the hot run. It wasn't terrible. I mean, the Waste Management wasn't great, but it wasn't like he was really, really just absolutely sucking it up. I think Harry probably, after trunk slam in the Waste Management, got some stuff figured out. I really think he did. So I love it here because it's an approach play golf course, and that's what he's done. If you look over the longer term, the 2020 season especially, and the tail end of the 2019 year, I mean, his iron play has been some of the best iron play on the PGA Tour. So I'm going to take a chance that we get a little low-owned Harris English. And then if you're not going to give me Bobby McIntyre, I think I might look at a little Mark Leishman. And I haven't touched Mark a whole lot this year. I've kept my hands off of Mark Leishman, but he checks the box in strokes gained approach, checks the box in strokes gained putting on Bermuda over about 75 rounds or so. Opportunities gained pretty good as well for Mark Leishman. His best putting surface, the only putting surface that he gained strokes on in his PGA Tour career, is Bermuda, coming off a 32nd place finish at the Genesis, 18th at the Farmers, 4th at the Sony. So comes in good form. The irons are going really hot right now. I like that for Mark Leishman. Maybe he'll be a little overlooked as well. I don't know. Seems like a good value at 7,400. I think he's a guy that gives you win equity. And then I'm going to go with another guy that Brian Halverson mentioned, Ryan Palmer. I like Ryan Palmer. He's checking every box. He putts okay on Bermuda. Strokes gained approach, top 10. Opportunities gained, 11th in the field. 13th in strokes gained off the tee. Something we haven't really talked about is obviously in a WGC with no cut, you have to score. You got to make a bunch of birdies. He's 8th in this field in the last 24 rounds in birdies or better. Listen, Ryan Palmer will definitely piss you off, and he'll hit a few balls in the water. Okay, he's going to do that. He's going to do some dumb stuff. But in this no cut event, he can definitely light up a scorecard with birdies and eagles. So 8th in the field in birdie or better. I love that. I'm about to get pissed with these people giving money. All hail Pat is ridiculous. So anyway,
you got $20 earlier, so you're like way in the lead.
I got
so don't
20
worry
earlier. I missed that.
Yeah, somebody threw 20 at you.
Oh, Chase again. Chase is just dang. I mean, my man. I need more supporters though. But yeah, Chase is out racing all y'all. Anyway, so I'm going Palmer. I'm going Leishman. I'm going English. I think Leishman and English could have potential to give you a little bit of ownership leverage for real. So there you go. My fade. I'm going back to this guy is Matt Wolff. Bermuda is his worst putting surface. And I looked at this from his second place finish at the Rocket Mortgage to his second place finish at the Shriners. Okay, so Rocket Mortgage in the summer to the second place finish at the Shriners. He was awesome. He played great. One of the things that he did really well in that stretch, if you look at it, was fairways gained, which is a stat on Fantasy National. Not just fairways hit, but fairways gained relative to the field on fantasynational.com/TJ. And good Lord, Halverson, $35. Thank you. He says 28 bold. Team Pat. Like I can't get mad at you for that one. That's very nice.
There you go. There you go. It's all there.
28 bold it is. Okay. Yeah, is this a podcast or a telethon? What are we doing here? Okay, this is an important stat for Matt Wolff because in that stretch where he played good golf, okay, 8 out of those 10 events, he was positive in fairways gained, along with hitting the piss out of it, okay? Driving distance, he hath not lost, okay? He still hits it a freaking mile. But what he is not doing since then is he has only gained fairways in one event. In total, he is negative 32.5 fairways gained in the last 6 events. That's not good. And his best finish in 2 WGCs is a T24, which isn't terrible, but he cannot. The driver is very crooked right now. So crooked. I don't like that out here. If you hit it too crooked here, I mentioned at the top, you're in the water, you're in the woods. It's not good. I think you continue to lay off Matt Wolff. Listen, I was tempted a couple of weeks ago by Ricky Fowler sucking it up and everybody being like, oh, he's no good. And I was tempted by the ownership. Nothing about his play made me want to get on him. but I was tempted by the ownership, and I should have just faded him because he missed the cut. It was waste management because he missed the cut and he sucked, and I should have just listened. Okay. I think you got to do the same thing with Matt Wolff. I don't think he's going to play well. Something is broken with the driver. He's not even close to hitting fairways with that thing. So, and I don't think this is a course where he can really dial it back. I don't think this is a course where he can hit 3-wood or something less. I think Matt Wolff's out of here. We are getting incredible stuff here. You guys are amazing. This has never happened before on the Tour Junkies podcast. I don't know what to do. Chase just gave $50. I love it. DB funds hitting the piss out of Pat funds. Yes, praise God. Although it's single-handedly doing it because Chase is the only person hardly donating on behalf of me.
Well, you know, I mean,
okay. 6K range. I did not think this was going to happen at the WGC.
I mean, this whole show has been like, it's just thrown me off big time. The chat throws me off in general.
Yeah,
you got people in here that, you know, that like to comment on things they probably shouldn't even comment on, for one. And two, it just gets crazy with the money tonight. It's just nuts.
Chase said I'm all paid.
By the way, I love you all in the chat. Some of you need to simmer down a little bit with some of your comments, but I still like you.
Is your
you
son?
know who you are?
Is your son on here?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Why don't you tell us who you like in the 6K range there?
All right, 6K range. I'm going to go with Lonto Griffin again this week at 6,700. I think he could have a good one. You know, he's a guy that is certainly good on Bermuda grass. You know, it's 6,700. I mean, top 15 in the field in Bermuda, top 20 in par 5 scoring, top 20 in strokes gained approach, checks the box also in ball striking. I like Lonto at 6,700. Another guy that we've seen on good recent form on the European Tour is Bernd Wiesberger. He is at 6,700 also, 53rd at the Saudi. He was 6th at Dubai. He was 25th at Abu Dhabi. And then he had a solid 4th place finish at the RSM Classic back in the fall. You know, a course that I wouldn't say is necessarily that much of a comparison here, but is a coastal course, is one that is has Bermuda grass. He's, obviously he putted well there that week. He putts well in Bermuda in general. So I like Wiesberger. And then I'm going really cheap for you. Wade Ormsby, the Aussie at 6,000. Another guy that is in good form. 63rd at Saudi, 22nd at Dubai, 12th at Abu Dhabi. He is a short knocker. So you know what? Maybe I got a little love for him because he's a short knocker, but I like him as well. I'm going to be a really cheap one there at 6,000 this week. Wade Ormsby.
I think if I had to take a $6,000 play, I'd go David Lipsky. Just played okay on the Corn Ferry Tour, but I don't think I'm going to go down that flow. But that's interesting. I love the Lanto play. He's one of my favorites, and I think Lanto is going to be chalk down here for sure. I think Lanto is going to be chalk. He plays well in difficult courses. We were on him last week. Played well at Riv. One of my favorite Euros to consider this week is Rasmus Højgaard. He's one of the Højgaard twins. The only one to qualify for the WGC though. Finished 6th at the Saudi, 9th at the Omega Dubai. This kid hits it a ton. He's young and his balls are big, and he just doesn't care. So I think he's got the mental and the fortitude to come out here and show what he's got on against the world's best. So I think Rasmus Højgaard is an interesting play that could give you a lot of DraftKings points because he's aggressive. He's a good young player. Thomas Dietrich's interesting. He's a guy who finished 3rd to Bryson DeChambeau in that 2015 USAM here at Concession. So he's got some experience here. I don't think he's quite as good of a player or talent as maybe, if you're looking at these European Tour guys, he's definitely not, to me, as talented as Højgaard or maybe Perez. But maybe the experience for Detry helps a little bit from 2015, and he can kind of draw on some of that. Played well here, and can draw on that for the NCAAs. I think he played for Illinois. And then finally, I'll tell you a name, another, guy from the European Tour that's tried to come over here and make his living on the PGA Tour, although not very well lately, is Erik van Rooyen. But to see EVR at 6,200, who has a top 20, I think, at a U.S. Open, who's played some tough courses, well in the past, just hasn't done great lately. But 6,200 in a no-cut event for a long-hitting Erik van Rooyen, who at least is very familiar with playing against these guys on the PGA Tour level. I think that's an interesting leverage play as well. If you're playing in a big GPP and you need some leverage and you're going heavy up top, I think EVR is an interesting look. I'd rather play him for sure than your Ormsby or my Lipsky call, but I'm just saying if you wanted to go that low, that's an interesting name to pay attention to. So
look, there's 72 guys in this field. They all got here for some reason or another. You could literally just, if you want to, just throw a flyer lineup in a GPP, and you never know it could hit. Now you got to have some studs in there, I think, but still.
Yeah, but definitely leverage. Have some ownership leverage going in. You got to study the ownership values. We'll be talking about it a ton in the Nut Hut, I'm sure, on Wednesday night and leading up to Wednesday night and lineup lock on Thursday. So you got to have the leverage. If you don't, you're, because of the limited field, you're going to find yourself not doing very well. So let's talk about the sportsbook stuff, and let's talk about a little bit of the Puerto Rico Open too. We're going to get to the Puerto Rico, but let's stay here on the WGC Workday and look at the betting market. Let's see if we can keep this heater going. We talked about Homa on the show last week. We talked about Homa on TJ After Dark on the DraftKings YouTube channel. If you're not watching that, you should. Obviously, he was written up in the betting card. So Homa was everywhere, and maybe we can keep the heater going. So top of the betting board, kind of your favorites, your shorter numbers, Pat. Who are a few names that you're that are catching your eye?
Well, you're getting JT around like 18 to 18.5 to 1. I think that that's a good number for him. I mean, again, like I said, last week was not a good week for him, but he was coming off of he had played well at the Waste Management, and then found out that he had a family member pass away.
Yeah.
So that's emotional for you, and he's he had to kind of get through that. But I think that he's back, close to home where he lives and everything, and you get him at 18 to 1. I think that number is a little bit inflated based off of last week's performance. So if I'm going on the shorter odds, I like JT there at 18 to 1. And then
let me just throw this in with a comment on JT. He lost nearly 6 strokes putting in 2 rounds. That is bad, but it's POA, which is bad. I mean, it's tough to putt on, and it's his worst putting surface. Other than that, like, he didn't strike it well for JT by JT standards, but it wasn't god awful. He missed the cut because he couldn't putt, and it was POA. Totally different surface now. He gets to a surface he's better on, he's familiar with, like you said. I think 18 to 1 is a good number to go ahead and get Justin Thomas. You're not going to find that number too many times with JT.
Yeah, I don't think it'll shorten up a ton in this field unless you see like a withdrawal up top. But other than that, I think that that's a really good number for him. I like Terrell Hatton there at 22 to 1. He's right there at 22 to 1 on PointsBet. I think that's a good number as well. And then another guy that I didn't talk about on the DFS portion, but I think is great value on PointsBet, and that's Webb Simpson. I think Webb Simpson is a great number there at 30 to 1 on PointsBet. I think he's 22 to 1 on DraftKings, so that you're getting a little bit more value there on PointsBet. So I like that number as well. And then the last guy from a shorter standpoint that I like, or more mid range, I guess, is Joaquin Niemann at 40 to 1 on PointsBet also.
Okay. I like the Webb call a lot. Yeah, we can't talk about them all. We'll be here all night, but he's one of those that was on my very short list to mention on the DFS side as well. I think that Webb Simpson call is very good. Webb loves Bermuda. I think that is a really solid call there. Niemann, what did Niemann do last week? I was looking at him. He had he had an outlier week with the iron play. He lost almost 4 strokes with the irons last week. He has not lost 4 strokes with his irons since, wait for it, never on the PGA Tour. That was the worst.
I think he just got off though. I mean, you had the second or the third and fourth rounds kind of split up there with the wind and everything that we got on Saturday. He just and then he had to start extremely early Sunday morning. I don't know. He was just kind of off. I just think that last week was an outlier for him. I really do.
Okay. I'm going to go with Dylan Hess. Thank you, man. $15 donated. Team Pat. Okay. I'm going to go with Brooks at 26 to 1. Yeah, Bermuda, Florida, long course, tough course, coming off a win. WGC, which we've not seen Brooks win a WGC, but we've seen, we've definitely seen him obviously win big tournaments. He just won the Waste Management. 26 to 1, I think, is almost as egregious as JT at 18 to 1. I think that's really good value. I don't think this is as good a value, but I think in the shorter range, if you just really like the shorter numbers, Patrick Reed at 31.5 right now on DraftKings, they're giving him the hook there. 31.5, Patrick Reed, because I do think he's got a real shot to win this thing. I really do. So I like Reed at 31.5. I loved him, in the DFS side. Sung J.M. at 45-1. I've already bet it. I bet it today. I think that number is going to get shorter if it hasn't already. I don't have the live odds pulled up in front of me, but I would bet Sung J at 30-1, 35. I'd probably bet him at 35-1. If you get him at 35-1 or longer, I think Sung J's definitely in play. But 45-1, I jumped all over that. It's Bermuda. He's had his rest. We'll see. Then kind of getting into that mid-range, I mentioned Tim too in the DFS portion, but Cam Smith, the Aussie, coming off the really good finish at the Genesis, checks all the ball striking boxes, hitting it well off the tee. He's a grinder, plays well in tough courses. Bermuda's not his best putting surface, but he also, he doesn't do all of his damage. He doesn't do a lot of damage with the flat stick anyway. But I love the play last week, 4th place finish at the Genesis. Scrambling like a madman. Iron play was solid. And Cam Smith knows how to seal the deal and close it if he's got a chance. So I like him at 60-1. And I think that's probably it for me in the mid-range before I get to the triple digits.
I had Cam Smith written down as well, so with you there.
Anybody else?
No, that's it. I only have 2 triple-digit guys.
Okay, who you
so
got?
I'll go ahead and get those out of the way. I mentioned both of these when we were talking DFS, and that is Alonzo Griffin at 125-1 on PointsBet. And then I also like your boy Bobby McIntyre at 150-1 as well. I think he is a good bet. Also, I love him in DFS. I think he's a good, just long shot play. So there you go. Those are my 2 triple-digit guys.
Okay. Love the Lonto play. I saw he was like 6-1 as a top 10 too. I'm not going to have any top 20s this week because it's a shorter field. I just don't love the numbers. So I'm probably going to bet the top 10s instead of the top 20s. Lonto 6-1 there. Like that. Leishman at 125-1 on DraftKings. I really like that number. That's a big number for an in-form Mark Leishman with a lot of WGC experience, big time player, plays well in big events. Love the value and the win equity on Leishman at 125-1. I'd be shocked if he doesn't make the final cut on my big balls betting card. And then finally, I will see your Bobby McIntyre play, and I will raise you a Rasmus Højgaard at 175-1 for the young bomber with the big balls at 175-1, and he is 10-1 for a top 10. So I like that as well. Oh, man, and Team DB is raking in the funds here now. Apparently, I have the wealthiest member of the chat in Chase Henderson, who is just supplying everything. And then, David Speaks just got me. David Stick Together, $10. I think I am leading the telethon that has just erupted here in the live YouTube
out of nowhere.
But I'm leading it basically with 3 people, and you and your little stupid minions from your nonsense chat.
I don't know. You just called them stupid. They may rally.
Beating me in quantity. Okay. Let's talk Puerto Rico. We're going to make this pretty snappy. Dang it, Kistler. We're going to make this pretty snappy. You got the Puerto Rican Open at Grand Reserve Country Club. It's only the second time they're going to play here. First time was last year in 2020. Victor Hovland won at 20 under. This place is distance. Hit it a long way. Hit it close, make the putts, be in form, because it's hard to come in here with no form and shoot 20 under and just score your off, just do that. That's the Puerto Rico Open. That's what you need to know in terms of the golf course, in terms of what it's going to take to play well. So let's talk names. The shortest names I like are 2 guys off the Korn Ferry Tour who are killing it right now. Taylor Pendrith and Grayson Sigg are both 35-1. Both hit it a mile. Both are premier players that we're going to watch on the PGA Tour next year if they don't get there before that. So, those 2 guys at 35-1. Big fan of those 2 short. God, Pat is our savior? What is wrong with these people? What have you done to these people? Daniel says, Pat is our savior. Here's $20. Daniel, no, he is not. He is far from your savior. Wait till you guys see that. Is that Dan the man? Is that Dan the man from the Nut Hut? Daniel, is that him? Crazy Marcus says that's him. This is stupid. This is all getting way out of hand. Although we appreciate the donations, and they will 100% all go to charity. But 28 Bowl. But the Pat is our savior mess. Give me a break. They're like the little green aliens in Toy Story that like follow around Buzz Lightyear for no reason, when really Buzz is an idiot and thinks he's still a space hero when he's just a toy.
What, are you calling me an idiot? What the hell?
No, I'm not calling you. Buzz was an idiot.
Wait, why'd you think about that for a second? You like made a face like,
sorry, I was reading. Producer Sam says, so far, without us trying, we have raised $246.55. Hey, good for you guys. Yeah, thank you. It all started with Marcus's $1.99. How about it?
For me, I might add. Where were we on the picks?
Just give me some short picks on the Puerto Rico.
Let me just give you a few short ones here. I'm going to go with Benny On at 25-1. I like him. Also, Brandon Wu, 30-1. I think that's a good number for him. You know, the guy's just about to be the next stud. We have seen Ollie Schniederjans play a little bit. Which one is, I don't know, Dylan, Brandon. Sorry, the host has said which one, Dylan or Brandon. I don't know. One of the Woos, okay? One of the Woos is 30-1. Whichever Woo is 30-1. Okay?
Short Woo.
Producer, you should be able to. You should just say, tell me, put it in the chat and say you said Brandon. It was Dylan. I don't know. It's Mr. Woo to you, producer Sam.
Oh,
anyway, Ollie Schniederjans.
Got the Messiah complex all of a sudden because he's got his little minions over here.
And I love you, producer Sam. Ollie Schniederjans at 35. I'm just gonna give them all to you right now. And Vegas, Johnny Vegas at 45-1. I think that's a good number. Look, Vegas has won before. If you want to talk about, we talk about win equity and all that kind of stuff, whatever the hell that means. He's at 45-1. He's won before. I also like Kramer Hickok at 55-1. Scott Brown, win equity as well. He's won here before at 90-1. And then Peter Uihlein at 90-1 also. He's a guy that we've also seen play relatively well lately on the tour and on the Korn Ferry Tour as well. So you're getting him at 90-1. He is a super talented player. I can't believe he has not broken through over the last few years. So there you go.
Well, again, I like a lot of names in here. The 55-1 range is where I would put most of my dollars. Bronson Burgoon, who's been playing okay, been playing pretty well. Will Gordon, Taco Supreme, and Davis Riley, all at 55-1, I think are extremely good values. I doubt they're still there by the time you're even listening to this. I would bet any of them at 45-1, but especially Gordon, I love that here. Played here last year, played really well here last year as well. And then 70-1, I like Joseph Bramlett, who also played well here, and Brandon Hagee, two long hitters. Hagee almost won like 4 weeks ago, if you don't remember. He had a lead, I think 36-hole, 54-hole lead, choked it away on the PGA Tour. He's at 70-1. I like that. And then a couple of bombs. Vincent Whaley off the Korn Ferry Tour, who also played here last year, had a good finish. He's at 100-1. He had a good week last week. And then our boy, he's actually been on the podcast before a long time ago. He lost his tour card. He's back on the Korn Ferry. Sebastian Kaplan at 150-1. Long hitter, aggressive. We've heard from his agent that a couple of weeks ago he found a little something. I think he was on – he actually made coverage, I think, on the PGA Tour on either the Farmers or the Amex. I don't remember which tournament it was, but he had a decent finish at one of those, and he found a little something. And Kaplan's a good player. So 150-1, that's a bomb. I think he's worth a look if you want to throw a couple dollars. Man, this is
by the way, it was Brandon Wu. I don't know why.
Okay.
I had it right, and then just threw out Dylan.
Oh man, wait till I go downstairs and tell my wife we raised like almost $300 for her charity, and we really don't know why. Oh wait, it's because Pat somehow has formed some little brainwashing circle jerk.
I did not. I told you this earlier. I did not form anything.
Okay, well, all I know is I'm not getting messages that say, "Oh, David at DB is our savior. DB is our we would lick the bottom of his foot if he asked us to." Like, nobody's telling me that. They're all telling you that. Chase just put me over the top. We're gonna end it there so we can win. Thank you, Chase. So I just have the rich elitist follower. You just don't, apparently. You just have like a bunch of them. I have like one. Everybody loves to hate me all of a sudden. It didn't used to be like that. Okay. Hey, leave a comment. Maybe leave a comment. Oh, $10 more. Team DB. Yes. 863K. Yes. We're going to total this up and put it out on social and rub it in.
All right.
Okay, Pat, I think we're good. This has been fantastic. You guys are awesome. Thank you to everybody donating. That was really cool. Leave a comment on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the podcast. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. Tell some people that like a little bit of golf about it. It helps us out. We appreciate it. Dan the man coming in. Freaking Dan. All right, I'm about to take this to the Nut Hut. You guys are okay. We got to get out of here. TJ After Dark. I'm going to be in the Nut Hut Wednesday night. It's going to be lit. Thank you. May your screens be green. See ya.